Hey everybody, Eric here, creator of Empowered, and welcome to episode 4 in the tutorial series on how to play the game. So this video is actually piggybacking off of the last video in that we are still going to be talking about cards and tokens, but specifically this is about mini cards and then tokens. Okay, so let's talk location cards. So here's an example of a location card. It's green in color, which is very similar to the movement superpower because they do coincide. At the top we have its name. And then we have its placement. This is telling you exactly where this goes in the location deck so that you get the proper order. This icon over here is the flip and change icon. Now this is very important. Keep this on your radar because you're gonna see this icon a lot throughout the game. It simply means you're converting one type of thing to something else or you're flipping a card. Moving on, we have here the difficulty. So this is issue 1, meaning that it's easy. Medium is issue 2 and hard is issue 3. Moving down a little lower, we have the interact ability. So this is something that you can do when you land on the card. You can activate it by using your interact action. Some cards don't have an interact ability and they simply have an object token or a sewer token. Now, what is a location? Well, a location is your main source of EXP. It's your main source of loot. And on the flip side, is where you find the actual event, and that's where you get your experience and your loot. Now there is one other type of location card, and that is called a crisis event. A crisis event is something that is only present in issues 2 and 3, and it's a one-time all-play event. This occurs when the page turns to the next spread. All right, now let's take a look at all of the mini cards. We're going to start with these style items. This might look a little familiar from the superpower video because they go along with your fighting style. So style items are unique to your fighting style. They're equipment or sidekicks. They have continuous use effects or one-time use trash effects, and they're gained as loot or on a level up. Let's take a look at one. So here we have Heroic Shield. This is the name on top. In the middle here we have its type and its power, and then we have its PvP ability. Now, if we're looking at a sidekick card, it's very similar, except instead of PvP, it has a trash effect. And remember, anytime you see trash, that means that the card is being discarded into the discard pile after use. All right, let's move on now to basic items. So they're the brown color here. This is loot that can be used by anyone. It can be equipment or health items. It can be special items or bystanders. There can be continuous use effects or one-time use effects, just like on the others. So here's an example of a medical kit. We have the name on top, we have its effect here, and then here's an example of an equipment card, which is very similar, except it says equip and then has the power, meaning you have to meet those standards in order to equip this card. All right, moving on, we have plot twist cards. So these are represented by the exclamation token. They're found next to locations. They can change the current event. They can be good or bad effects. They can affect the players or the game, and the exclamation token moves around the map. Here's an example of one. We have famous team up. So on top we have the name, then we have its type and flavor text, and then we have the effect. Keep in mind that these cards will be flipped before you start the event that is on the opposite side of the location. More on that later. Now let's take a look at backstory cards. They work very similar, except they're represented by the question mark token. They're found next to locations. They represent hidden aspects of your character. They can make mechanical changes. They're attached to your player board, and they can affect players or the game. And of course, the token does move around the map, just like the exclamation one. So here we have Nobody's Puppet. We have the name. Of course, again, we have the flavor text and the backstory, and then we have the effect. These ones are really great because they can affect the game in a thematical way or a statistic way or a mechanical way, but they stick with you forever. Once you've got them, they are there for good. It's a really fun way to flesh out your character for narrative purposes as well. Okay, and let's go on to the last one, which is your origin story card. So this is represented by the pencil icon on your player board. It's gained at level 6. It represents a thematic history of your character, and it's how your powers were unlocked. It's narrative text that's specific in the endgame. So here's an example of one. We have Mutant Origin. The name is at the top, and then the narrative text is below. The purpose of these cards is to really get your character backstory written, and when the game comes to an end, you can use this to develop your character's story further. All right, now let's talk about the tokens in the game. So we're going to start with traits. So traits are something that provide history, background, and specialty to your character. They do provide a mechanical bonus that's found on the opposite side of the token whenever you match. More on that later. And there's quite a few of them, so let's go through. First up, we have Assassin, Military, Gang, Robot, Creature, and Supernatural. Now, the great thing about these is that they really allow you to decide who your character is. So let's say you do get the supernatural trait. Are you a ghost? Are you a specter? Are you some sort of demon or angel? It's all up to you. You get to decide what this means about your character's background and develop that story. Now, we also have the first player token, which will be present on the board. That lets you know the order and game flow. And then we have your HP tracker and your bonus HP. The tracker is how you know how much health you're at, and bonus HP are extra tokens that are earned later, and they go beside your board to increase your total health. Okay, now moving on to two very important tokens that you will see routinely throughout the game. The first one is objects. So these are found on city, street spaces, or locations. They require a pickup roll using the fighting style die. They provide a one-time bonus or a held ability, one per player, but you can gain an extra one through powers or abilities, and they're a part of the interact action category. So here's an example of what one looks like. This over here is the icon for it, and of course the difficulty. Now remember, one of the most important aspects of this game is that you do have to exceed the value shown. Whether it's combat or movement or trying to pick something up, you always have to exceed the number. Tying is not enough. Now, we spoke about this icon earlier. This is the flip change icon. And just to reiterate one more time, this simply means you have to physically flip something over, or you are converting one type of icon to another. Let's take a look at one object token. So here we have the Army Jeep. Its name and image are on top. We have the hit icon, a shield icon, and then you have the special or held ability. Now remember that all objects are one-time use only, meaning that you can cash it in to either generate that hit or that shield to your pool, but it then has to be sent to the discard pile or back to the bag. If you have an object that has the held ability, you can continue to use that ability as long as you hold it, but you do not get the shield or the hit icon unless you discard it. Next up, we're going to be talking about sewers. So sewers are icons that are found on city, street spaces, or locations. They require a travel roll check to use them using the green movement power die. They act as quick travel around the city, and they're part of the movement action category. So let's take a closer look at them. So here we have a sewer. It shows the difficulty and the icon, and remember, you must exceed the value shown. Now on a failed roll, that represents becoming lost in the sewer system, and when you pop out the other side, you can't continue your movement. If you happen to succeed and roll a whoosh, you actually add +1 to your movement speed upon exiting. This whoosh can also be used to chase a fleeing pawn or a fleeing player one time. Okay, so I hope that clears up everything involving cards and tokens. We are past that point. Next episode is a real big one. It is arguably the most important aspect of this entire game, and that is character creation from start to finish. Stay tuned.